Thank you for watching. Freedom of speech is a great thing, but what is it? What's covered by speech? I already did a video about what's not covered. So what things can we stake a claim to when we are claiming our freedom of speech? Whether we're claiming a constitutional right because we live in the United States of America where it is an enumerated right, or whether we are just claiming that principle that should be in force all over the world because it's a beautiful universal truth that we should have that right of freedom of speech and press. Those are both ways to get information out, a printing press and speaking. So, controversial things are protected. Things that are not liked by people in power are protected. Things that hurt feelings are protected. Uncomfortable truths are protected. Now some idiot might be saying, but what about it meant freedom of speech, but freedom of speech with disqualifier. Freedom of speech as long as it doesn't hurt my feelings. It would be an extremely stupid waste of time and paper for the Founding Fathers to write freedom of speech when they meant whatever those in power want you to say. Now, to drive this point home, think about the most evil, maniacal dictator in world history. You're thinking about somebody now? Good. Now, in so-and-so's country, did the people that agreed with him get to say what he wanted them to say? Yes. Did they have freedom of speech? According to you, they had freedom of speech. If you are saying, yeah, but what if it hurts feelings, or what if it's not freedom of speech if it's not uncomfortable things to or things not liked by those in power? And so that dictator, he did not give his people freedom of speech. If we're talking about what really freedom of anything means. Freedom of fill in the blank means what people in power don't want. It means the people in power tolerating what's happening. If that's freedom of speech, freedom of car color, freedom of what gun you buy, freedom of religion. If it has to be the one that's liked by those in power, then you do not have freedom of... And so you do not have freedom of speech if the only speech that you are protected by and saying is that which is liked, because everybody gets to say what the person in power likes. Even in that dictatorship that I told you to think about, a dictator from world history who was really bad. His people in his country got to say what he wanted them to say. So if you're for any kind of limitation on people's freedom of speech, you are as bad as that dictator. You're not for freedom of speech. Addendum. The principle of freedom of speech means letting things happen, be heard, stuff. So, when YouTube cancels channels that have a lot of viewers just because of a political difference of opinion, and that channel was not calling for genocide, not calling, humans unhuman, then YouTube is acting against the principle. Maybe not the constitutional amendment, because the Constitution is about the government, but they're definitely acting against the principle. And I've heard of YouTube canceling. The latest one was Stefan Molyneux. A lot of channels. Maybe it's time for us to go to alternative platforms like BitChute to watch videos instead of watching videos on YouTube. You can live out this principle of freedom of speech in your own life by not flagging videos on the internet just because you disagree with them. I mean, flag them all day long if they really do have calls for genocide. Even then, just write a comment about how stupid the video is. Make a counter video. But flag all the day long videos that are pornographic, are a hidden camera video that is not exposing any criminal activity or something like that. Another way to live out freedom of speech in your own life is don't be one of those evil pieces of crap who tries to get somebody fired from a job because they said something, even if they said something publicly on YouTube or Facebook or something like that, or competitors to YouTube and Facebook, which there are many of. That should have nothing to do with them being a restaurant manager, a office manager, a taxi driver, an auto mechanic. Fill in the blank with a big long list of almost any job. So what? Somebody said something they don't like. If you go to their business and harass them, and harass their employer until they get fired, you're an evil piece of crap. And you're giving permission for people to do that to you too. We must be able as a society to have opinions and still go to work and not like shut each other down, not harass a business, not go to a restaurant just for the purpose of complaining about somebody who did nothing to you when you were at the restaurant. If it's a really big deal to you, don't go to the restaurant. Don't go to that business that has somebody. But don't like block other people from going there. Don't waste the management's time at that business telling them that you want them to fire somebody. We need to be for freedom of speech in our own life, because if you're not for freedom of speech for everyone, then you have no moral claim on freedom of speech yourself. You're a hypocrite. You should shut up. If this year you're getting people canceled, getting a YouTube channel canceled because you didn't like it. If you are getting somebody fired from their job as a restaurant manager or a restaurant chef because you didn't like something they said this year, next year, when the same happens to you, you need to shut up. You thought people should get fired. You thought people should be out of work, unable to make a living, be forced to become homeless, or live in the garage of some relative. Then shut up when it happens to you. Or repent of hating freedom of speech. Embrace the idea of freedom of speech. Don't get those people canceled, and when somebody comes for you, you won't be a hypocrite that should shut up. And I'll have some sympathy for you if somebody tries to cancel you in some way because your opinion about something came out, or you repeated a fact that you heard that was not liked by some people. Thank you for watching my addendum to the video. Have a good day.